Test. Sorry, none of my audio was working. Hold on. Let me fix the audio. I accidentally opened my email. Hold on. Click that. 1 second, sorry. I didn't realize my microphone wasn't plugged in, and also I didn't check that the audio was working. Okay, it's fixed. Cool. Alright, we're all set up to go. We're back in it. Let me untangle all my cables and shit. Sorry. Okay. Jeez. Good start. Good stream start. Great stream start. We started strong there. I was gonna start by saying, I'm actually properly, nutrified, nutriate. What the hell is that word I'm looking for? Nutritioned? What is the word I'm looking for here? I wanted to say, I had another, I'd streamed last night. I had another one of those days where I realized that I was just really hungry. And I, didn't have energy. But now, I've eaten enough today, so I'm good. Yeah. I gotta stop doing that. It's a problem for me, though. Sometimes I just have days where I forget to eat, I just don't realize how hungry I am, and I start a stream, and it's, the worst stream I've ever done. What's wrong with me? I'm oh, it's because I didn't eat enough today. I feel like I'm properly hydrated, or I don't know what the hell the word is that I'm looking for, but I've eaten enough. I made a pork, sort of ground pork burrito type bowl thing yesterday, which was pretty good, but kind of bland, I will say. Needed more flavor, but I made enough that I ate it again tonight, so I had that, but I also had lunch, which I had, I had Gold Star chili for lunch, so that was kind of heavy. And then I had just, kind of a burrito bowl type thing for dinner, so I've eaten more than enough today. I should have plenty of energy. I should be good, but that's always a problem for me. Sometimes I just don't eat enough. The reason I didn't eat anything yesterday was because I ordered a double down. It's not a double, but it's called the double down from freaking KFC. I'm this is a nightmare of a sandwich. I shouldn't need any more calories. But I don't know. Apparently I did. It's my bad. I'm an idiot. So we're still grinding. Betty should evolve at level 34. We're getting there. I'm gonna grind it up. We should get there pretty quickly. Just match her to Nora and she'll be there. Yeah, I made I've never made anything with ground pork before, so that was it was kind of weird. It was a little weird. And the sauce, I don't know. I guess maybe I should have used a smaller pan or something, because I used a big pan and it kind of I maybe didn't soak the sauce up enough. I don't really know. I'm not gonna question it, but the sauce kind of came out bland. But yeah, it was whatever. I don't know. It was decent, halfway decent. It was one of my HelloFresh meals. I'm spamming Aurora Beam, but this is not the enemy to do that with. Uh-oh. This is not a rock type. Okay, so we go. I don't know where we go. Where do we go? Let's go to Rachel. I was talking about my last stream. My last stream was actually a game. I played Pizza Tower. I finished Pizza Tower. It was yesterday, which I think means I've streamed 3 days in a row. Which don't know that is that true? No. No, I didn't stream. I don't think I streamed yesterday, did I? Or did I? Wait, did I? Wait a second. Now I'm like confused because I remember like I was playing Tony Hawk yesterday. Was that after? I think that was after. I streamed and then I played Tony Hawk after. But I was like, I finished the story mode and I did all the goals. But I was really struggling with one that was just like grind a rail all the way to the bottom. Until I realized that I was being pretty dumb and that like they added this ability to focus in the entire game, so you can like focus when you have your special bar up to full. You can like focus and it slows everything down, so you can kind of like do it a lot easier. It's a lot easier to do it. But the problem was I wasn't using it because I realized like if I start my focus right at the beginning of the grind, it like goes down super fast, and then you only get like a little bit of focus. So that's why I wasn't using it. But I realized if I start using my focus like halfway down, it just the bar never goes down, so you just kind of get it for the rest of the grind. I was like, oh, well that makes it easy then. So my confusion is I don't really know how special works, but I beat the game. Now I'm doing the classic mode, which I never really did as a kid. I remember opening up classic mode and being like, I don't like this. And then when I realized that the Pro Skater game, I did play Underground first before the Pro Skater games, but I went back, played some of the Pro Skater. I think I played Pro Skater 4 because I found a copy of it, and I was like, I'll play this, see what it's like. And I realized it was just like classic mode from Underground 2, which I didn't like, so I did not play. I'm like, this is dumb. Why am I timed? Why do I have a bunch of goals and it's got a timer? Kind of weak. But I have since, rethought my thoughts on that. I now appreciate it. So now I'm going through classic mode. Which I find interesting because they have like levels that are not in the story mode of the game. Like the story mode of the game has like 5 levels. It's so short. But you go into classic mode and it's got like 20 levels. I think they bring back. I haven't played any yet, but I think they bring back levels from like the Pro Skater games. Because I've unlocked 2 levels that I haven't played at yet, and one of them is called Airport, and the other one's called School, I think. And so I'm like, oh, these are just like Airport is a level from. It's either Pro Skater 3 or Pro Skater 4, I think. I don't remember which. It might be Pro Skater 4, honestly. But, like, I remember that one. I remember the Airport level. And then, School is either School 1 or 2, which is Tony Hawk's. It's Pro Skater 1 or Pro Skater 2. Please don't kill me with self-destruct. Please don't kill me with self-destruct. That's the lamest thing you can do. Great. Completely waste of time. So dumb, dude. You just annihilate me, but you don't, like, what's the point of that? It's only, like, useful if you're in a trainer battle and you're like, well, I want to just win, so I guess I'll just self-destruct to just auto-win against, like, a last Pokemon. Otherwise, it's pointless. Otherwise, it's just annoying. I also started playing Final Fantasy 3 again, but like the Japanese Final Fantasy 3, so I'm not talking about Final Fantasy 6. I know people are gonna think that's what that's what I'm talking about when I say that. I'm playing Final Fantasy 3. They're gonna be like, oh, that one's really good. But now I'm gonna talk about how much I hate Final Fantasy 3. And they'll be like, what? That game's so good though. I'll be like, no, you're thinking of the other one. I'm thinking of the actual Final Fantasy 3, okay? So now that we've got that out of the way, I got the DS one back when it came out. I don't know. It came out in 2006. I know because it's on the title screen. It says 2006. Which in 2006 I would have been 13. So I got it as like a teenager, and I've been trying to beat this game like my entire life since I got it at age 13. And I absolutely despise this game. But I've like always been trying to play through all the Final Fantasy games. I've always wanted to, but I get I get filtered by Final Fantasy 3. I beat the first one. I don't know if I did all the extra optional shit in the first one, I will say. That one has a lot of like dumb extra final bosses and stuff, and depending on like what version you're playing, there's like extra final bosses. There's so many. There's optional dungeons. Like, a game gets ridiculous at a point, where it's just like, just beat the game and like don't make me go through like 50 floors of like 7 optional dungeons. Like, I'm done. I'm done with the game. I tried to do all that, and it just gets so, like, genuinely, it just gets ridiculous. Like, the levels stop even, like, making sense. Like, you'll walk into a level, and it'll be like, you go through, like, a dungeon, and then suddenly you're in, like, a goblin woods, and you can talk to the goblins, and they're like, like, it's like, what is going on? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. Sometimes you end up in these weird towns. It's like, it's bizarre, dude. It's, like, super weird game. If you do all the optional stuff. So I gave up on the optional stuff. I probably will never go back to that game. And, well, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a fun stream game at some point, but not anytime soon. That's where I'm at currently. But I also beat Final Fantasy II, which, kind of blows. It's not really a great game, but... And again, I'm not talking about Final Fantasy IV. I'm talking about Final Fantasy II. It's not a great game, but, like, it wasn't hard. Final Fantasy III just doesn't make any sense. It's like, I keep trying to go through... Like, I'm pretty far in the game, but, like, the job system, like, doesn't... It makes sense to me up to a certain point. But I've gotten to a certain point in the game where it's like, it stops making sense. Where I'm like trying to experiment with like different job classes, but I can't change my job classes because they, like, every job class I have is like much worth. Like, I don't get it. I'm like, I can't change, like, I'm using a Geomancer, right? And the Geomancer is just like broken. I like don't get it. It's like it's free magic that doesn't have any cost. And it's just based on the terrain. And they're, like, super powerful spells that can do, like, 2,000 plus damage or also do, like, an insta-kill. And they attack every enemy on the field. So it's like, why wouldn't you just use a Geomancer? So it's like, I used that. I, like, tried to switch that out, and I'm like, no, can't do that because it's just such a broken ability that just losing that underpowers my team too much. And then I, like... realized I had to use a Dragoon because I'm in a dungeon where there's a lot of flying enemies. It's just weird, but like the weird thing that doesn't make any sense is that I have my strongest weapon that I've found is only wieldable by a Viking. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll make one of my teammates a Viking, and they do the least damage out of anybody, even though it's the most powerful weapon that I have. Like, if I use jump with the Dragoon, I could do 1,000 plus damage. If I use the Geomancer, like, he could do 2,000 plus damage. And, like, my Viking does, like, 200 damage at most. Each attack. And I'm like, what? This makes no sense. I don't understand it at all. I'm like, I feel like I'm just using classes that are, like, kind of broken for what I'm doing, but... Because it's like that in every situation. Did he just use, like, 6 Fury Swipes? Are you fucking kidding me? No. You killed the only Pokemon I'm trying to train up right now. What the hell was that? That was like 6 Fury Swipes in a row. God, I hate Fury Swipes. I don't know. Anyways. I started playing it, I think, sometime last year, sometime like mid last year. I'm like, I'm gonna start up Final Fantasy 3 again, try to finish it, and I've gotten pretty far, but then I stopped at a certain point, and I just picked it up again today. I'm like, maybe I'll try again. And I was like confused. I was like, wait, what was I doing? But I remember now. Specifically, I figured it out. I'm like, oh yeah, I was using these classes because they're broken, but I was trying to switch to the other classes. Like, I've never tried to use an evoker or a bard. I'm like, that might be fun, but you can't. I can't switch to anything else because it just they can't do damage unless I'm like a very specific class. It's weird. I just don't understand it. Like, it leaves me not much room to actually experiment. It's just... And I don't know why my Viking doesn't do damage. Like, I don't get it. It's like, that's his whole entire job, is to do the most damage, and he does the least. Like, what the heck? Anyways, I'm done talking about that. Just a quick little rant. I started that today. I was actually just playing like a couple... Like, half an hour ago? Yeah, half an hour ago. That's why it's fresh in my mind. I also was just, like, confused as to what I was doing, where I was going. But I just assumed I was supposed to do this dungeon that I was, like, saved right out in front of. I'm like, I was probably doing this. But it's hard to figure out what to do in that game is another thing. Luckily, they added, like, the ability to get, like, a cutscene where your party members, like, talk to each other, so they kind of give you, like, a lead of where to go next if you get lost. Yeah, I hate that game. I don't know why people don't talk about it. More, because I feel like it's my least favorite out of all of them, and every single game after this is, like, widely praised. You know, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is kind of disliked. 9 is pretty well liked. 10, I think 10 is pretty well liked. 11 is 11 was the online one. The first MMO. I don't know. I don't remember if people liked that or not. 12 is fairly well liked, but some people, it's a little divisive, I think. 13, depends on who you ask. I think, like, the massive weebs probably like Final Fantasy 13, the, like, really, you know, weeby dudes, anime-loving dudes probably love Final Fantasy 13. I didn't mind it, you know? I didn't mind it so much. People would complain a lot about it when it came out because it was like, there's no open world. And you're just like, you have to go in one direction the whole game. And it's like, yeah, but a lot of games are kind of like that. Like, complaining about a linear design is, like, a little weird to me thinking back now. Like, I got it at the time. I'm like, yeah, this is the type of game that maybe should be a little bit more open, especially considering the previous game. If you were talking about Final Fantasy 12, then yeah. But, I mean, Final Fantasy 10 was still pretty, like, linear. If you really, like, boil it down, it's like a linear game. Seems a little odd to complain about that. It didn't bother me so much, and I did find the battle system rather interesting, so... I do want to go back to that game and finish it at some point, but I never did finish it. I only got so far. But I was very excited to play it when it came out. I remember that was one of the first games I got for when I got my parents got me a 360. But I think it came out pretty late in the 360 lifestyle cycle, but I got a 360 only when I went to college in 2011, I think. So that was one of the first games that I got. And I was like so excited. And I played a little bit of it, and then I never finished it. And now here we are. More than a decade later, having not finished that game. I don't know. I've got a lot of games that are kind of like on my forever list of things that I really want to finish someday. Bat and Katos, that's one I want to go back to. Never finished it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of like all the Mario RPG games. I think I can't remember, but I think I finished Superstar Saga. But now that I think about it, I actually can't remember if I did or not. I finished Paper Mario 2, but never Paper Mario 1. I would love to go back to the Mario RPGs. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to discover if Takedown is better than Headbutt. But of course I have to mess with Bulbapedia. Takedown is probably better than Headbutt, so I'm gonna use it, except it damages me, I think. Yeah, recoil damage. That's fine. I do probably, in between streams, I need to go back and do the... Probably try to get my Blizzard and my Thunder ability. I think they'll help us in the long run. But I don't want to sit and sort of grind out the cash, at least until, well, I mean, I could do it on stream if people want me to. But, like, I'd have to figure out the technique. And I also am worried it won't be that interesting to watch, because I feel like I can't really say much if I'm trying to focus on a strategy of, you know, if I have to, like, heavily pay attention to, like, counting and numbers. It's, like, really hard to, like, do anything else except just that. But hell, I mean, sometimes I think of streaming as, like, just Let's Playing, I suppose. And it's not. I can just kind of sit here and say nothing, maybe. But I always feel like I have to be saying something. I'm always like, it would be boring if somebody, like, joined in at a certain moment and there was just nothing. There was just, like, the game. You know? So I'm, like, trying to be entertaining, but maybe I don't need to be. I'm trying to get more comfortable doing that, is what I'm saying. Just being like, whatever, doesn't matter. Just stream anything. Don't really have to put any pressure on myself, you know. That's what would probably be best. I think streams are better with, like, a lack of structure. Less of a structure, I think they actually work better. Yeah, I mentioned yesterday, because the last time I did the Pokemon stream, I did talk about how I'd started, like, a dating profile, and I was like, you know, I haven't gotten any matches. Super weird. Like, what am I doing wrong? And then yesterday, no, it's yesterday. You know what? No, I must have streamed on Sunday, and then I didn't stream on Monday, I think. But I streamed Tuesday. I think that's what happened. I'm, like, thinking I streamed 3 days in a row, and I'm like, no, because I went to... that's right. I went to a bar with my dad on Monday. So I did not stream that night. But Tuesday, yeah, I had like 3 matches. I didn't get any matches today, but I also didn't swipe at all yesterday, so kind of makes sense that I wouldn't really get any new matches unless I'm actively using the app. At the same time, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter so much. But that's where we're at. Yeah, but Monday was a bit weird. It's my dad's birthday is coming up, but basically, weird thing about my dad's birthday is it is around St. Patrick's Day, and also he's like heavy into St. Patrick's Day. I don't know why, but my dad's really always been into like Irish culture for some reason. I genuinely have no idea. I feel like I should ask him at one point why he's so interested in Irish stuff. I don't think there's like a reason. I think it's just he just is. Like he really likes the Pogues. Big fan of the Pogues, the band. He likes Celtic music. I don't know. He joined initially he joined like this place, it was like an Irish school of music. It was kind of like an independent thing you could do in your free time, just join this thing and you could play at like festivals or whatever. And he learned like the penny whistle, and I think he also learned harmonica, and it was like I suppose like a hobby for him. And I think from there maybe that's where he got more and more into like Irish music. I think he just likes I think he just likes Irish music. I don't think there's anything else more to it than that. You know, but yeah, he joined, like, he's not Irish, is the point I'm trying to get across, is he's not Irish, but I think he just likes Irish things. Anyway, he joined a glee club, and they sing Irish pub songs, basically. So it's a bunch of dudes in, like, their 40s and 50s. They go around to, like, pubs and sing, like, Irish pub songs, Irish drinking songs and all that. And so he does this, I think basically throughout the year, but it gets really, like, they start doing it a lot more when it gets to be around St. Patrick's Day, like, obviously, right? So, like, this entire week, I think they're going around to different pubs and doing songs, so he was, like, in town, basically. I live like 40 minutes-ish from my parents. Ice Beam. Ice Beam, I think, is better than Icy Wind. This might be good. It is. Alright, we're losing Icy Wind. This is big. This is huge. Okay. Big things are happening. We're making progress. I feel good about that. I'm not sure how much more abilities my Pokemon can actually, like, learn. I'm most worried about Suicune. I'm like, does Suicune even learn anything after it's like level 43 already? Like, I hope it learns something soon so I don't have to, like, find stuff to teach it. I say we switch out here. Do I send Derek? Yeah, we can send it. Yeah, we can send Derek out. I don't know. Hoping getting them to just to level 40 will probably do us just enough to be able to get the edge up. I'm not worried. But we could get, like I said, we could get 2 more moves. We could get Thunder, we could go get Blizzard, but I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time grinding coins to get them, so. But I think they would be good in the end. I would hope once I buy it from the Game Corner, maybe it's one of those things that goes then to the store, but I don't think it works like that. So I think we'd get Blizzard once and be able to teach it once. And then never again. So, unless we literally grinded it out again. Not that we need it more than once, I suppose. We'll just give it to Lapras. But at the same time, it would be good to have a couple Pokemon with Blizzard. And we would like to have Thunder for Derek. That'd be wonderful. But maybe he just learns Thunder on his own. Who's to say? Yeah, anyways. My dad. My parents live like 40 minutes away, right? And he was like, oh, I'm gonna be like nearby. We're going to a bar like that's pretty close to where you live. So I was like, okay. I mean, he said that, and then I looked it up on the map, and it was like 23 minutes away. It was a 23-minute drive, so I'm like, that's not really close to me. But like, I understand what he was saying, because it's like, it's in the city where I used to work, and that's why I moved here. Because from here, it was like a 5-minute drive to my workplace, which was on the outside of this town. But like, to get exactly where he is, it's like on the other side of the town. So, and it's, I have to go 2 exits instead of 1. So it's like, it's technically pretty far away. It's not like close. I would not describe it as like close to where I live, but it's about halfway between us. Yeah, I went. It was a nice place. They had like a lot of themed beers. They were like a brewery / distillery or something. It was a nice place. I had a good time. Oops, I probably shouldn't have done this. He's gonna use like self-destruct or something. I can already see it. Yep, okay. Wonderful. Yeah, but they only sang like 3 songs. They dedicated one of the songs to like a girl that was there. She's going in like the Air Force. Apparently they're like an army family because they pointed out that her brother was like a former army guy. I don't know if he was in the Air Force. I don't think they specified. He was apparently also. I'm like, damn. Guess that's how it just works for certain families. They're just army families. Like, all of the kids just go into the military. But I'm like, wow. Can't imagine that. Doing the Air Force is kind of cool, honestly. Air Force is kind of sick. Because then you kind of have, like, a wild, like, experience, I feel like. Just flying around in planes at high speeds. And, like, I don't know if they see a lot of combat or, like, what they do exactly. I don't know. I've never been in the military. But it is interesting. It always seems like it's just certain families. I remember, like, they try to pick you up out of college, usually. It's important to, like, watch out for that if you're not interested. Because they'll, like, call you and be like, hey, heard you're graduating college. We're calling all the college students to recruit into the military. But I was like really shy at the time, so I couldn't hang up and say, oh, not interested. I just let the dude talk for a while, and he's like, all right, I'll call you back at a later point so we can keep talking about this. And I'm like, okay. I didn't want to answer him. Next time he called, I told my mom about it. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Anyways, yeah. It was a weird ramble topic. I'm losing it, dude. How long has it been? 35 minutes? We're about to evolve our dugong. Or our seal into a dugong. So once we do that, we only have one more Pokemon to evolve, which is Slowpoke into a Slowbro. I know we already have a Slowking, which is why it's kind of pointless, but that's what we're doing. And then we'll be done with it. Then we won't have to think about it again. And then I think I'll probably put Slowking in my party. I think I'll be using Slowking, probably. I have to decide between... I think I'm gonna probably lock in Suicune unless we switch him out for Feraligatr. Probably lock in Lapras. I think just having the ice typing is important. Though we could also achieve that with a Dugong. But I don't think I'm gonna be doing that. Kingdra is like a must. Having the dragon typing is just like way better than anything else, so super important. Lantern is also pretty unique type of Pokemon that we can have, so I would like to keep him. So it's just the other two slots, I don't know. I think Slowking, but I'm also thinking, you know, we could... Oh, I do want to... I would like to use Poliwhirl, I'll be honest. But maybe it's not the best decision. I think Slowking and either Slowking and... I mean, we could go Tentacruel. Quillfish, technically. I'm not thinking in that direction, but I'm thinking Gyarados, probably. Probably what makes the most sense to me is, like, throwing in Gyarados with Slowking. Oh, ooh, this is risky. I probably should have switched. Okay. Wasn't paying attention. We'll send out... Can we see? Yeah, we can send out Nora, right? I do kind of like the idea of Nora, though. I like Nora conceptually. But I don't really think it's gonna actually do anything for us. Like, especially if she doesn't get the defensive type from the rock typing, then it's, like, not as useful as I would want it to be. Like, if normal type attacks still do, like, the same amount of damage, just not really worth it. Which makes me wonder why I even have Corsola here in the first place. I'd like to get her, you know, we'll get her up to level 40. And then it'll be like, oh, yeah, well, we have the option. Right? We have the option. We're just leaving the doors open. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab something. Nice beam. I've been watching, started watching Attack on Titan. I think I mentioned this. I'm, like, finishing it up. Catching up on it, I guess. The show gets pretty crazy. It's pretty wild. I'm at the point finally where they started to explain everything, and I'm like, oh. Now I get it. And now I'm like super hyped and invested. I'm like, ooh, how are they gonna... What are they gonna do now? What's gonna happen next? I'm super excited. So I'm watching that. I think I also watched Mandalorian, episode 2 of Mandalorian today. Although I did kind of like not really pay attention to it. Admittedly, I don't think I like really watched the episode today. I don't know what was going on. I know, well, I won't spoil. No spoilers, but I was on my phone a little bit and I wasn't really paying attention. I have the habit of doing that lately. I'll just pull out my phone during like while I watching something and I'm like, oh shoot, it's like 20 minutes have passed and I don't know what's going on. I noticed myself doing that with Last of Us a couple times, but I think it more so happens when like, I don't know. I like to think it's because the episode wasn't interesting or something like that. It's like, oh well, I was kind of bored. But I don't know. I might just have problems paying attention. But, Attack on Titan's different because it's an anime and I watch it subbed, so I always watch my anime subbed. I'm a subber. I'm a big subber. I don't like dubs. I feel like subs is like you get the original, you know, feel of like what I guess you're still reading it, but you at least get the original like emotion behind it. I feel like with dubs it can kind of ruin the source material. You know, turn it into something goofier, or make it sound kind of stupid. Something, because like the Japanese, you know, their way of speaking is different. They give emphasis to words that sound weird when you give emphasis to them as an American man. You know. I feel like "you idiot" doesn't sound the same as like, you know, calling someone a baka. I feel like it's kind of cringe if I just say it like that though. But you know what I mean? It's like it's a different. The way they say it usually is like a lot different. But it's like "you idiot," and they always do it like that. You idiot! They always say it like that. Whenever it's like, oh, that was a baka in the original scripts. I hear it whenever they say that. Because nobody would say that in real life. You idiot! Nobody says that. But like that's the, you know, the vibe they're trying to get across. That's why I watch subs. Plus I can read. Oh, Betty's evolving. That's kind of poggers. I will say the evolution from Seal to Dugong is like nothing. I feel like it's just it's like one of the least satisfying evolutions that exist in the entire game. It's just like it looks like the same. Is there a worse evolution than like Seal to Dugong? Alright, we're withdrawing a random slowpoke that we have just sitting around. There it is, level 24. This one is gonna be the reason I have this lab is because this one doesn't evolve until level 37, so there are ways to go to get this one, but we'll get there. Save real quick. I'm gonna switch my thing. Okay. We're all sorted. Let's go. Now, I don't know why they split up Slowpoke's evolutions like this. It doesn't really make much sense. The only reason I can think of is because Slowbro is an easier evolution to get. And Slowking is obviously a little more harder to get. It's kind of the opposite of, you know, like the Poliwhirl situation. Whereas, like, Slowking should be better than Slowbro, I think, generally. It just makes sense. But Politoed is harder to get than Poliwrath, I think. I mean, we both require, like, an item, but one, you know, Politoed requires the trait evolution, which Poliwhirl does not. Just requires a Water Stone. So it's like, Politoed's the harder evolution, but I feel like it's the worst Pokemon. It doesn't really make sense. But I feel like with the Slowpoke line, it's like Slowking has to be better, right? There's no way Slowking's not better than Slowbro. But it's like, you would think, I think originally when I was a kid, I used to think it was Slowpoke to Slowbro to Slowking. Like, Slowbro evolves into Slowking, but no, for whatever dumb reason, it's like a separate evolution. I don't know why. They both are from Slowpoke, though. And because of that, I'm including both of them. So, that's the only time that I include, like, I can have, like, a duplicate Pokemon, I feel like, is when they have different end evolutions. It just makes sense. You know. So this is the last one before we can just start focusing on just leveling stuff up. Probably take a while though. Because it is quite low leveled. Oh, cool. Pog. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's my dad's birthday this weekend, so it's also really close to St. Patrick's Day. So we kind of do both. We celebrate, well, yeah, as much as you celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I guess. But we just kind of celebrate it during St. Patrick's. So he does, you know. There's one, we always, as a family, kind of go to one specific thing that he does, because he basically does the parade. The parade. He does a parade. Part of a parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade. And his like group like marches through, and then should use Twister. Well, I'll get another chance, I guess. And then they stop at a specific bar downtown. And we go to that. Basically, every single year we go to that one. And watch him there, so. It's very hype. So we'll be doing that. It's gonna be a busy weekend. I had to get a gift for my dad. So my sister texted me and basically, you know, want to get tickets, so we got tickets to a soccer game for the three of us, me, my dad, and my sister. And I'm like, that's a good idea. He likes stuff like that, just very simple stuff, nothing too, like, he's not a very materialistic guy. He doesn't have a lot of, like, things that he wants usually. It's just, actually, now that I remember from, like, last year, I got him, like, a vinyl last year. Oh my gosh, I'm remembering this now, and that's, like, freaking me out that was a year ago. I went to, gosh, I think I told this story. It's March, isn't it? Did I start I might have started Animal Crossing in March. Did I do that? I might already be at that point where I should be done with Animal Crossing. But I'm like so far behind. I mean, just in uploads. I'm talking about specifically. I'm not trying to like spoil what I'm doing in that, but. I'm far behind in uploads. I need to catch up. Because I remember telling this story of how I went to go get my dad a gift. Maybe, no, you know what? That was Father's Day. That was Father's Day that I was thinking of. That was Father's Day I was describing. Okay, yeah, never mind. Father's Day is in like June. Or August. Actually, I think it's in August. Yeah, I got him like a vinyl. I drove out. I had to drive so far to find like a vinyl store. It was ridiculous. Like they started selling vinyls at like Target. I was looking up vinyl stores and Target came up and I'm like, alright, let's see what Target has. But they have nothing that my dad would have liked. They have like a lot of like greatest hits stuff and then a lot of like pop music and hip hop and not really my dad's thing, so. Couldn't really get him any of that. He's more of a dad rock guy. He's, you know, appropriately named Dad Rock, but more of a, maybe not dad rock, but a classic rock, I suppose. It's sort of the same thing. He's really into, like, AC/DC, I remember, was, like, one of his favorite bands. But I try to find a lot of the stuff that's, like, kind of, you know, that I remember him talking about a lot. Like, he really likes Iggy Pop and the Stooges. Gosh, there's one band I always forget their name. I always always forget their name. But I just try to find that stuff because I feel like it's more like impactful to him because it's like it indicates that, you know, I was listening for all those years. He talks about his musical tastes. I'm like, yeah, I know about this stuff. I remember. The thing is, with a lot of that stuff, he already has it. The thing is, like, AC/DC was kind of my go-to because he had all those, but he doesn't have them on vinyl. He has them on CD. So I don't know if he cares that much about, like, getting those specific things on vinyl. I don't know if he's, like, that hyped about it, but I'm like, I think vinyl is cooler. But at least, like, when CDs started being the sort of go-to format, that's just what he started buying, so. He kind of stopped collecting vinyl after that point. But he recently got a new player, so. A new vinyl player, so. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I can give you some more things. See, I gave him a Dragon Fang because I was hoping Twister would do a lot more. But I think Waterfall is still going to be the more powerful attack. I mean, it's only going to work better if it's, like, super effective, I think. Epic. Cool. Whoop. You're done, son. Can we win this fight with Slowpoke? I'm not confident. He's locked in rage. Wow, okay. Well done. Figured. Saw it coming from a mile away. I am maybe a little tired today. Realizing maybe I didn't sleep well last night. But that's okay. We're just grinding. Don't flinch. Rachel. You're getting bodied. Rachel. I need you to, Rachel, please. This is a disaster for you. Don't hurt yourself now. Wow. Okay. My Rachel is stupid, apparently. Finally. Big. Big. I don't know what level I evolved my Slowpoke at. It must have been somewhere in level the 20s where I got the Slowking. If I had to guess. Which means there's a possibility our Slowbro actually learns something like Psychic. I don't know. Like, the ability to actually just learn Psychic would be super helpful because I don't get the TM until much later in the game. And just having Psychic, which is one of the best Psychic abilities, would be nice. I have Confusion. Which is not where I want to be. I'm also thinking about... I think the third TM that's available at the Game Corner is like Fire Blast. I'm thinking Fire Blast could be useful if I could actually teach it to any of my Pokemon. I have no idea if any of them could learn it, but... that could be pretty big if we manage that. That could be a big deal. But I don't know how hard it's gonna be to actually beat the Elite Four once we start actually attempting it. It might take us a while. I might still have to grind even further, but I feel like if we get to level 40 at least, we should be able to grind through the Elite Four instead of just having to grind in Victory Road. It would kind of become a bit fruitless. But like just beating any Pokemon in the Elite Four gives you massive amounts of experience, so we'll be able to sort of, you know, grind our way through it a little bit faster, so we'll be able to gain levels a little bit better there. I don't know how people feel about that necessarily approach to beating Pokemon, just like throwing myself against the wall over and over again until I win. I feel like it's strong enough to pull it off. Gosh, just having some of the really good moves would be super optimal. It would be, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's like no reason, it's like a bad idea to probably not grind out the Game Corner. This game is kind of dumb in how it sets up some of the stuff here. Because it like makes useful things really hard to obtain for some reason. Like why are the stones, I brought it up a bunch of times, but why is it so hard to get like an evolutionary stone in this game? Like doesn't make any sense to lock them off that to that extent. Maybe they were just trying to encourage the connection to the first game through that. Well, I was hoping to avoid the rest here. I'm locking a bunch of stuff into the second half of the game, and then locking a bunch of stuff behind the Game Corner. Behind a lot of coins, too. Like, 5,500, that's a lot. That is a lot of coins. I'm feeling like it would be so worth it. But I'm like, there's no way I could do that on stream. Because I'm also feeling like if I, like... Yeah, we get one, right? We get Blizzard, we teach it to Lapras, but I'm like, I should have another Blizzard just in case, like, it would be a useful ability to teach another Pokemon as well. Just kind of take that approach. Because I like to just, if I can get the same TM, just have it on hand. I just kind of go through and see what I can give every Pokemon, like, individually to, like, bolster their overall moveset. Would just be good for us, overall. Would just be a good idea. Like, I feel like Thunder, maybe we could give to somebody like Kingdra as well. You know, that'd be like an interesting thing for them to have. So we can, like, cover our bases a bit. He's, like, really close level. I'm surprised he didn't level up there. We got, like, barely any experience points from that. Well done. That was like 6. Was that 6? 5 times. Okay. I'm bad at counting sometimes, you know? Come on. This is the one I'm trying to avoid. That's why I use confusion. Alright, we win. Reminds me, I'm behind in uploading my streams. I think I need to upload the last, like, including this one, the last, like, 3 streams. I also need to finish editing my Animal Crossing. I wanted to do 2 Animal Crossings this week. That I haven't finished. I have to edit just, like, another 3 minutes into the next video, and then that's it, I think. I just didn't finish it. I got to, like, 17-minute recording, and then I was like... And then I went to bed, and then I forgot to do it. Oh, yeah, I don't think I've mentioned on stream. I started a 3rd channel. Did I mention this yesterday? I don't think I did. A Rhyhorn. I feel like I see these very often. I started a third channel because I was like playing God of War Ragnarok, and I was finishing it up, and then I was like having trouble against these two optional bosses, and I was like, you know, I was getting comfortable enough where I'm like, this is hard, but I can beat it, and I was like, I'm gonna record this, and so I recorded it, and I managed to beat it, and then I was like, I'm gonna upload this as like a thing, but I'm like, I can't do this on my main channel. It just doesn't, it would be weird. It would just be weird and kind of out of place, and also kind of spoilery, and I'm like, so I'm like, maybe I'll create a third channel where I upload stuff like that. And so that's what I did. I have a third channel. I probably won't upload it to it like super often, but like anything I'm playing on my own that I'm like, this could be like a fun little challenging thing that I did that like maybe would be interesting for people to watch, and then I could also do commentary on it. So that was my idea. And that's what I did. Might do more stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll have some other ideas for stuff I can do. I know some people do like weird stream of consciousness sort of things over gameplay. Which could be kind of fun. But I also feel like that's kind of what I do on my stream anyways. It's like this is kind of stream of consciousness. You know? Kind of just like what this is. It's like what I do 90%. I mean, yeah, I feel like that's Let's Plays as well. It's just like whatever my brain comes up with to talk about. Well, like, would it be much different? I don't know. Unless I can come up with like an actual like specific topic that I want to discuss. What's the deal with airline food? That's like not very good. I don't even know what the bit is. What is that bit that he does? Is that even a real bit that he did? I wonder that's nice. That's a famous thing that people do as an impression of like Jerry Seinfeld. Is stand up. What's the deal with airline food? It's like the common thing that they do when they're making fun of him in his stand up. Like, has he ever actually said that? I wonder. I have no idea. But, like, I've heard that. I feel like South Park was probably, like, the first time I heard that type of joke was on, like, South Park. A really old South Park episode. I don't know if it's, like, a real bit. I've also never watched Seinfeld. Never watched the show. It's like the type of thing I think my friend from high school would be really into. He's probably watched all of Seinfeld. If I had to guess, out of all the people I know, he's probably the person that's watched Seinfeld. I don't watch a lot of comedies, I realize. Never really been my vibe. I don't think there's any particular reason for it, though. Like, there's some that I liked. I liked How I Met Your Mother a lot. That was a really fun show for me when I was in college. You know, my friends were watching it, so I was also watching it. I watched a lot of Always Sunny. I watched too many seasons of that. I was like binging that. There was like a week or two where I was just like really into that show, and I'm like, I'm just gonna watch every single episode ever. That show is so good. It's such a good show, though. I was also into Arrested Development. I was really into Arrested Development, but that show's kind of a mess when you like put it all together. It's like it just got confusing. I think because they got canceled. They did like 3 seasons and then it got canceled, and then I think they did a 4th season on Netflix. and then they did like a 5th season where they did like they told the story like kind of out of order. Like they did this really ambitious. I think it was like a 5th season, or it might have just been the 4th season. I don't know. Like out of order, and then they did like a Redux season where they like put it in more of an order to like make it make more sense to people. And they're like, oh, it's too intimidating, so they like reordered it. And I was just more confused because I watched the like Redux and I'm like, wait, I feel like I've already seen this. I realized, oh, it is the same thing, just in a different order. It's confusing as hell. But yeah, that show's kind of dead. I don't think that show's never gonna come back probably at this point. Unfortunately, it had so much potential, and it was like good for the first few seasons, but I think it was just in the writing. Like the writing was really clever, because they would do like a bit, something that would like allude to something that would like pay off, like way later in the show. You know, they would do these like elaborate bits, and then people would be like, oh, they alluded to this in the first season. It's just a really clever show. I was a big fan. Alright, Slowpoke, you got this. Don't flinch. Oh shoot, that would be super effective. That's true. My super effective is not as good as your super effective, so we're switching. Only makes sense. Disable. Let's see. Sure. Get rid of Growl and you can learn Disable, my buddy. My dude. Fam. I feel like I don't get as passionate about television anymore as I used to. I used to get like really into shows and I would just binge the show for like ever. Now I find it hard to get to that point where I'm like really excited to watch every episode of a show. I'm kind of getting there with Attack on Titan, but I'm kind of there, I suppose. But it takes a while. I feel like, especially with the final season, it was like I just didn't know what was going on. So it was hard for me to like get really excited or invested in it. I'm like, okay, I gotta get back into this show that hasn't aired for like 2 years. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Well, it's hard to get excited, but now I'm there because they've explained everything. I'm like, okay, I get it now. I'm in. We're here. We're doing cool stuff. Super hype. Very excited. But as for anything else, I mean, I'm not there with Mandalorian yet. Season 3 is only 2 episodes so far, but I don't know. It's not starting off with like a bang, you know. It's kind of starting off kind of slow. I'm like, alright, what are we doing? Like, where are we going with this? Is this gonna be interesting? I also kind of feel like I haven't really been there with The Last of Us either. As much as, like, I would say that the show is good, I don't know if I'm, like, super crazy invested in it. I don't think I'm as excited as I would expect to be about it. It's like I like it, but I feel like I should love the show. But at the same time, like, here's the thing, is I played The Last of Us, the actual game, just a few months ago, I think back in back before the new year, back in 2022. Or it might have even been January or something. I don't remember, but I played it pretty recently. So, like, it's really fresh in my mind. And, like, the differences I notice really, like, explicitly. And I'm like, well, the game does this better. Well, the game does this better. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that, like, they remove all of the, like, kind of pointless gameplay stuff where you're, battling zombies and trying to get through, like, a difficult thing. And they're, like, condensing the storyline to such an extent. But I feel like what it removes is, like, the emotional impact of the journey that they go through together, It's like you're bonding... you're bonding with the characters, you know what I mean? It's like you spend a lot more time with them together to, like, feel that bond more closely. So when you get to the like, really emotional scenes, I feel like they hold more weight, Where it's hard for me to say that the show, like, earns it. And I do find it, like, it's not that hard for me to, like, separate the show and the game in my brain. I'm like, they're different. I can separate them. And I'm like, there's the one scene with the, where they go to, in the game it was like I'm avoiding spoiling it. So I'm just gonna be as, like, vague as kind of possible. But they go to, it was like a dam. In the game, it was like a dam where they restored power through, like, a water wheel. Which they take all of that out of the show. Like, none of that, like, restoring power to the thing. And then, they're like, oh, this is awesome. We have so much power now. Just removed all of that. And they just kind of have the emotional beats of the characters. And there's, like, a really impactful moment, I think, towards the end of that, where Joel's, like, making this decision, and they do it a little differently, but, like, the lines kind of stay the same, like, from, like, what Ellie says. And it was like, she said the line, and I'm like, this was way more impactful, like, this was way more emotionally impactful in the game, because of all the time that you spent with the two characters together, like, bonding over the course of this. Is like you feel the impact of that a lot more. And, like, I feel like in this, I'm like, I don't know, they, like, it feels like just a couple episodes ago they started their journey. I'm like, it hasn't been that long, I haven't spent that much time together for it to get to that point. I felt like, especially when one of the episodes was spent, like, completely, episode 3 obviously they weren't even in. So this is, like, episode 6 or 7. And it's like, I don't know if we're there yet, I don't feel like they were there emotionally to, like, have the weight that it was supposed to. So, I've been talking to friends about it, and I feel like they're... my one friend likes it a lot. He thinks it's, like, it adds a lot to, like, the background. Like, the world building is more there. Like, they build upon stuff narratively and in the world, which I agree with. But at the same time, I feel like the game itself is, like, enough. I feel like the game itself doesn't need you to, like, it doesn't need to, like, necessarily explain its world for you to, like, feel the understand what the world is and what it's about, So you don't need to know the details necessarily. And I feel like adding the details doesn't really change anything. It just adds additional context, really. But yeah. I mean, I might do a video where I review the whole thing, and I'll probably try to do a better job than I'm doing right now. So, I don't know, my brain's 100% in order to do that. But, like, yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Especially the last episode that they did. Again, not going to try to spoil anything, but, like, that whole section of the game, it takes its time to, like, build up everything that's going on and where it goes. And this was just, like, it's an episode. It's a single episode, like, an hour long. And it's like, I feel like I probably spent, like, at least 3 to 5 hours probably on this section of the game. So it, like, kind of takes the time to build up, like, what's happening? What's going on? And then when you get to the point, you're like, oh, shoot. And they also just kind of, I feel like there is a little bit of, like, I don't want to say cheapness, but I do want to say cheapness in, like, how they try to push the emotional impact of the scene by just, like, adding this extra layer to it, which, which is, like, really uncomfortable, I feel like, but I don't know if that was in the game. Here's the thing, is, like, the game is kind of weird in, like, a lot of the details of, like, what's going on are hidden. It's kind of, that's the world building, that's what you get from just exploring and, like, reading stuff and just sort of finding stuff on your own. You find out all this information, which, changes your understanding of the circumstances, but you kind of have to discover a lot of that on your own. Like the Bill and Frank thing, the relationship there, I feel like that's just public knowledge at this point. I'm still not going to spoil it, but, that whole thing was kind of hidden in the game a little bit. You had to, like, read into it a little bit in order to sort of get that was the context. It's like, it's not really what happens in the game. Like, they meet up with Bill, and then you never actually see Frank, ever. They just talk about Frank. And Bill helps you get a car. So that's, like, how the game does it. But in this, they, like, hard focus on that whole thing, and then they build it up to this point where it's, like, that's what the whole, thing was about. But it's, like, that little detail, I actually think I kind of missed in the game. I don't remember that being a thing, and then I looked it up, and it's like, oh, yeah, the game implies that they were in a relationship. I'm like, oh, I didn't get that. I was like, oh, I totally missed that. Like, didn't think that was what was going on there. I knew they were friends, and he was, like, mad at him because he just kind of, like, leaves like, an angry note. And I'm like, I did not get that they were, like, together. I did not, like, put 2 and 2 together. So I'm like, it could be that in the game there's, like, details that I'm missing. If they are in the game. Apparently they are in the game. And I just, something like that I totally missed. So it's like this extra layer that they added to this episode with the, the lodge and everything, is also another thing that maybe I just missed that, like, that was the implication that was being made, because I don't really remember that being the context, but they make it real weird. And so I'm wondering if it was just, like, an attempt to, make it more, I don't know. The emotional impact I feel from that whole thing in the game comes more from her surviving that whole endeavor, on her own, just completely alone. And, like, that was the trauma by itself. At least that's what I got out of it. She's way in over her head, and she managed to make it out alive, but just barely. I don't know. I also feel like the episode where they kind of cover the, like, DLC from the game, they skipped the entire other side of the story, the other half of the story. So, you partly have her, Ellie's sort of backstory with the mall and everything, but in the DLC, it's actually, like, kind of paralleled with her actually going to a different mall to search for medicine for Joel, and, you know, we're totally cutting that out of the show. I'm like, well, I like that part though. I liked that part of it. But I guess, you know, a lot of the combat stuff, a lot of the stuff where you put the characters in a situation that would normally be for like a normal person be kind of overwhelming. You know, is trying to add to the realism there, because it's like there she has to deal with like a lot of dudes. You know, she has to like kill a lot of people, and a lot of that is just removed from the show of them going through like, you know, just murdering hundreds of people and zombies. It's just all gone. So they're like not as badass, I suppose. But it's like that explains why they might have cut out that scene, because it's like her putting herself in danger to the point where like she would have to do something kind of crazy in order to survive that. And they're like, oh, we don't really want to do that. So they're making a trade there in order to add to the realism of the circumstance. But I also feel like that's another thing, is like just the lack of the zombies. Is like, I feel like if you're watching this show and you like don't play the game, you would think the zombies are like barely a threat, because they're like barely around ever. You almost never see them. They're in like a couple episodes, and there's a ton of episodes in this where they just don't show up at all. And I'm like, they should be more present than they are. But it's like they avoid all of the situations in which the zombies would be present, you know? So it's like, well. I also got the feeling that I don't know if people will really understand how they work. Because it's like, the zombies are a little weird in that they die kind of like a person would die. If you like, you know, it's not like a regular zombie where it's like, you gotta shoot it in the head. It's like, it's all in the head. You gotta remove the head in some way. It's like, you don't have to do that in Last of Us. The zombies aren't about the head. They're just people that have been infected with like a fungus. So their vitals are based off the vitals of the person that they're infecting. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see how it ends. But, you know, we're getting close, I think, so. I think there's probably just like one more episode, maybe. After that. After the last episode. I'm trying to remember what they even do after that. Yeah, I think it would probably be just one more episode. Maybe two, but... basically at the end. I feel for a show, it's pretty good. It gets the point across. I just don't know that I would say it's like a better thing. I feel like the medium which they chose originally for The Last of Us works perfectly. I especially like one of the things I think is maybe underrated about The Last of Us, maybe not, but it's just the sort of atmosphere of the game, and just like the level of detail that they put into the environment specifically that you're walking through. Like, I remember a specific section in the game where you're like walking through like a neighborhood, and there's like backyards, and you can go in all the houses, and all the rooms and everything are unique, and they all kind of tell like a story of like the family that lived there. You know, and the yards are all different. It's not like they're reusing, you know, assets like you would in... That kind of gives across that video gamey vibe, you know? It's like, oh, this is the same bathroom that I've seen like 100 times. It's like, no, every element of it is like different. To make you like feel really immersed in the environment, I didn't mean to use bubble. And I'm like, that's something that gets that you only really get from the game, and you can't really like put into a TV show. Really, this doesn't work in the medium. And I feel like I missed that. I feel like I missed that part of the experience of The Last of Us. I'm like, you gotta have that. Of course, we can't. We can't have that. But it is what it is. Makes you think. Makes you really kind of makes you think. Like what the with a show, you can build upon characters more so, and just information. I suppose to do something like that, you would have to spend a lot of time with cinematography and just like, you know, camera shots that kind of linger over areas, without necessarily the characters really doing much, or dialogue even really happening, which is kind of hard to do in a show. It's like people need things to happen. I don't know. Those are my thoughts so far. I feel like so many people are like raving about it. Like, oh, it's the best thing ever. But I'm like, is it like that much better than like a lot of the shows that I've watched recently? Like, I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm not like crazy about it, but I don't really get the feeling that, you know, it's like as good as I think people are saying. But I think it's good. I think it's good, and I think it's worth watching. But I'm not gonna be like it's the greatest show that's aired in like 100 years. It's like it's not that level. It's not that level. Let's just say, you know. But I like it. I guess I'm done talking about that. I will be right back. I've been trying to read more books recently. I'm back, by the way. But I kind of got stuck. Sometimes I start a book, and I'm like, I don't get super into it. And, you know, maybe I get like halfway through the book, and I'm like, Then I find it harder to like pick up every time. Especially when it's like, you know, you gotta read a whole chapter of a book before, and it's like, I don't, it feels uncomfortable, like stopping in the middle of a chapter, you know, like, I don't know. But the last book I tried to pick up is American Gods, Neil Gaiman, which I think is good. I think it's a good book, but I'm like halfway through it. And I'm like, I'm not sure. The thing about Neil Gaiman that I like is this sort of whimsicality of his, like, worlds and his fantasies. The, like, world building of it is, like, super interesting. But the thing is, and I kind of felt this way with, I also read Neverwhere, which was one of his, like, earlier books. Is, like, I found it hard, I'm finding it hard to, like, anticipate where it's going with any of this. I'm like, okay, so what is the point? Like, what point are we heading to? Like, what's exactly, like, I kind of get the conflict of it, but I'm like, what's the solution that we're working towards? And it doesn't necessarily, like, it doesn't reveal it. It's like American Gods is like, it's not really revealing much for me to, like, understand where we're supposed to go. A lot of it is just, I think, trying to, again, I think it's just, it's cloaked in its atmosphere. It's trying to explore the, you know, small towns and the different, like, cultures within America, you know. So it's kind of like a road trip sort of book about it's about a road trip. A couple guys on a road trip. But there's a fantasy element to it that is really whimsical and crazy and weird. But yeah, so the chapter I was currently on, or that I was just reading, is about, like, a kind of a small town in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, he's like just chilling here, and they have like a ice storm, and he's just like chilling in this town, and I'm like, all right, so where are we gonna go next? And he's just like hanging around, talking to all these people in this small town. I was like, I get it, okay. It's like it's quaint, it's nice. I'm like imagining this small town. I'm like, I like that, but where are we going with it? Like, where's the story heading? And so that's where I've been, and I've kind of I don't know. I've found it hard to, you know, it's like halfway through the book, so I'm like finding it a little hard to, like, pick up. But I guess maybe that's just like one chapter. It's just been taking forever to finish this, like, one chapter. I'm like, there's a whole book left. Reading's hard, man. Because it's not like I have to do it myself, you know? It's not like a TV show where I can just turn it on, and if I get bored, I can just, like, look up Reddit on my phone or something. And I'll be like, oh, we're back at the interesting parts now. You know, it's like with the book, it's like I gotta read through the parts that maybe I'm not so interested in. Not that I'm saying this is not interesting, it's just, like I said, I don't know where the story's going. Is my Slowpoke dead? My Slowpoke's dead. Why am I battling still? I didn't realize that happened. Totally missed it. Before this, I think the last book I read was Wheel of Time, Book 3 of Wheel of Time. Which I like Wheel of Time. I liked the first two books. The third book, I found a little bit less interesting, I think, because there wasn't really all that much that happened, you know, and it took a while for something to happen, and it spent a lot of time in, like, I don't know if anyone's gonna know what I'm talking about when I say this, but they spent a lot of time in the like, White Tower in Tar Valon. And a lot of just talking about stuff happening and then not anything actually really happening. So I was like a little bored through that one. Not crazy about that one. But, you know, I don't know. When it comes to books, I feel like sometimes I just get to that point where I'm like halfway through a book and I just start getting bored. Because I'm like, I've read so much of this already. So maybe it's just, it has nothing to do with the actual content of the book, but more so just a sort of character flaw that I have. I don't know. My friends and I used to do a book club, basically, where we just wanted to read more books, and so we were like, what if we start like a book club and we like read books together and then we talk about them? I'm like, that's a good idea. Cool idea. We ended up ending it, I think, before 1 year. I don't think we made it 1 year. But we did it for a while, gave it a fair shake. And we just kind of took turns, like, recommending stuff. And being like, this is the book I want to read. Wrong. Driver. What do you mean we're wrong? We did it over... Did we? Okay, well, Shriver's here, and he'll disprove what I'm saying. Did we? I thought it was just, like, less than a year. Trevor was a part of the book club, everyone. We did it, like, 10 books. 16 books. Are you sure? I felt like it was less than a year. I guess I'm wrong. Okay. Well, now I'm trying to remember what my point was. My point was that I found it easier to read books that way because there was like a destination I was getting to, I suppose. We were like, we were gonna discuss to this, and it's like I get there, and it felt less imposing. But now I'm like, I start a book, and I'm like halfway through, and it's like 300 pages, and I'm like, I gotta read like another 150 pages. Actually, that's not that much. I don't know. My story is I started reading American Gods, and I'm like halfway through the book, and now I'm like trying to finish it, and I just have not been interested in. It's been hard for me to pick it back up. I'm like, but I got other books to read, and I don't want to like read another book until I finish this one. So I'm like, just like remembering if I had book club, I'd be like, oh, so I just gotta read half the book, and then I don't know. I don't know why it's easier that way. It just feels easier that way. There's like a thing that. I don't know. What the heck's my point? I don't know. I got a lot of books to read. Sometimes I stop reading books and then I just start reading comic books instead. And I'm like, I shouldn't do that. This is less, like, good for my brain or something. It's way easier to read comic books, though. Because they're like 20 pages and then they end. And there's pictures. It's too easy, man. It's like what comic books are you reading? I bought like the whole graphic novel. So I think it was like 12 issues. The first 12 issues I read Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur because I'd never read it, and I was like, I always kind of wanted to read it, but now that there's like a cartoon, I was like, I'll buy this, I'll read it, I'll see if it was good. So I read that. It was 12 issues. It's like pretty easy to read. It's pretty good. It was pretty good. Definitely. I don't know. It was a little bit stock. I'll say it. It was a little bit stock. I'm not super keen on the trope of like they create like a Marvel. Marvel does this thing so often where they have to have like a character that's like a super genius, or like their friend is a super genius, and it's like there can't be this many people out in the world that are just like super geniuses. And so now in this one they have like a 9-year-old girl. She's like the main character, and like her whole thing is that she's a super genius that like builds really cool science projects and stuff and tech, and it's like, all right, they do this all the time. Like, I need less of this. Like, be more clever, be more interesting. It's too much. It's they always do this. But the show's pretty good. Definitely directed towards kids. But I actually like the show. It's got a cool vibe. Got like kind of a lo-fi hip-hop vibe. And they do like a little dance scene whenever she does the fight against the big villain. They do like a little dance scene, and there's a song that plays, and there's all these colors. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cute show. But definitely made for kids. So yeah, that's what I read. Before that, I was actually reading a bunch of Hellraiser comics. Those are pretty fun. I will say there was one Hellraiser comic that was great because it like continued the whole storyline from the first. Sounds like a good show to study to. Yeah. Lo-fi beats to chill and study to. Yeah, exactly. You get it. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is dope though. It does have a good like vibe. The animation's really good. It's just well done. But it's a kid's show, so I'm not gonna start telling people to watch it. You have to watch this children's cartoon. I learned about math. No, I mean it does very simple like morals though. There's one about like one of the villains is like an actual troll, and then it's like an internet troll, and then it starts like being mean to her on the internet, and then she has to, in order to defeat the troll, she has to stop feeding it. So she has to like ignore it and not like get mad at the things that he's saying, and just like ignore him, and then he loses his power. So it was like very. It was a good moral. I think it was a good moral. I learned a lot. It was like stuff like that. I don't know, very simple, like sort of little, morals that are very literal. I hate Ursaring. Anyways, what was I saying before that? I forgot. I don't remember. Oh yeah, I was reading the Hellraiser. Okay. So the first two movies of Hellraiser have like a lore to them, and then it's kind of like dropped after that in the movies. Dude, some of the Hellraiser movies are so bad. Anything after like the second one is like pretty bad. The third one's okay. But like there's never been a horror franchise that I'm like, it's mostly bad, except for like the first two, and then the rest are like so bad. That's like the only one I kind of feel that strongly about. But the comic's cool because it like continues that. It brings those characters back, especially the like little girl from the second one, who like never shows up again in the movies. It's cool. That's something you could do with comic books, which is fun. Friday the 13th? What are you talking about? Friday the 13th? Dude, those movies are just fun. Those are mostly fun. Okay. You're just gonna start naming every horror franchise. Bro, Nightmare on Elm Street? Maybe. But I don't know. The Dream Kids or whatever are kind of cool. They bind together and they beat the guy. They beat the man. They beat the guy. They beat the guy. Halloween Dream Warriors, yeah. Dream Warriors, and then there's the one after that, which is kind of like just continues that. You know what I don't like about the trope of horror movies though? I don't like is how in the next one they're just like, oh, they didn't actually win though. Then it just immediately kills off the characters that won in like the previous films. Like, oh, actually, but no though. Like happy ending, never mind. Not actually though. It's like that's a terrible trope. I hate that. Halloween's great though. Halloween, Let me think. Hold on, let me think about that for a second. You might have a point with Halloween. What do you think? Hold on, I'm thinking. Halloween 1, Halloween 2. Halloween 2 is like a good ending. Halloween 3 is just like a different movie, so I don't know that it counts. Somehow, Freddy returned. Exactly. It's like the opening crawl from Rise of Skywalker. Somehow, the Emperor has returned. Somehow. The dead speak. Classic. Yeah, I mean, at least the first, like, Nightmare on Elm Street ended with him kind of returning. Like, them not really winning. It was just, like, a joke. Alright, that might have been the second one. I don't remember. It all kinds of, like, merges together in my mind after a while. But Friday the 13th, I wholeheartedly disagree with. Those movies are mostly fun every single time. Every single one of them is a joy. Oh, I was talking about Halloween. Halloween 4. No, Halloween 4 is kind of interesting, though. Because that's the one where they bring in the little girl. And, like, it's kind of scarier because he's, like, trying to kill this little girl the whole movie. And you're like, uh-oh, that's scary. You, like, feel, like, more terror towards it because of that. I don't know. It was Halloween 4 and 5, I think, that was that plot line. Halloween 6 is the one where I think, like, Justin Long's in that movie, and then they bring back that's where they do the whole cult thing, and it gets real weird. The first one, Freddy alive because at the end he pulls a dummy through the front door window. Yeah. It was like the mom, right? I remember. I've only seen like 2 Halloween movies. Bro, Halloween is like one of the more solid like horror franchises. No, I'm gonna wheel back that statement. I don't think that's true. Friday the 13th probably is better. I mean, there's Evil Dead, but that's like on a whole different level. Chucky? What about the Chucky movies? Chucky movies are just, they're supposed to be really, like, campy and, you know, silly and stupid, so I feel like those kind of work just because they keep that vibe going. And just, it gets stupider and stupider as it goes on. Less and less scary. I feel like the Child's Play 1, 2, 3. Child's Play 3? I forget. Was there only 2 and then they did Chuck? I don't remember. They were at least scary, and then there was a point at which they kind of just stopped being scary. Why did they not just shot Mike Myers in the head with gun? I mean, they tried. They tried a couple times. There was literally one where he got decapitated and then he came back. I mean, in the second one, he gets set on fire in, like, a way he couldn't possibly have escaped from. And yet he somehow, like, is still, like, they literally blow up the room. He, like, shoots a gas tank, like, right next to him. And, like, the room blows up. And he dies, I think. No, actually, no, he doesn't, does he? Actually, I don't think he does. Donald Pleasance? I don't think he does actually die in that. Or it might have been one of the alternative timelines where he, like, comes back and he's, like, all scarred up. Why did they not use the Eagles to fly Mike Myers to Mount Doom? That's the question. That's the right question. Now you're asking the right question. Now we're on to something. Why didn't they? You know, when Gandalf said, "Fly, you fools," he was actually telling them to fly on the eagles. And they just didn't listen. I love that theory. You know, Aladdin is actually a dystopian future in which the world ended and something like that. And that's why Genie makes a lot of references from pop culture. Is because that stuff actually happened in the distant past. Yes. Alright, man. Gotta peace. Have a good stream. Alright, man. See you later. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Still out here grinding. But not for much longer, because I've got a revolving to slow bro, and then we're just getting to level 40, and we'll be good. We'll be golden. Slow bro in like 6 levels. And then no more evolutions. I don't have to do that anymore. And then we can just focus on grinding. What was I talking about before? I was talking about books. What's going on about books? I don't know. I feel like I've finished talking about that. I started talking about comics. I feel like I finished talking about that. I don't know. I like movies. I haven't watched any movies recently. Oh, I've been meaning to ask if anybody wanted to go see Creed, because there's a new Creed movie. I'm a big fan of the Rocky franchise, and I actually haven't seen the second Creed, though. I haven't seen the second Creed yet, I don't think. So I was planning on just, like, going, like, watching it on streaming somewhere, and then, like, going to see Creed 3. But I liked the first Creed. I would be excited to go watch Creed 3 in theaters. It's like, yeah, I don't go see movies a lot. I just wait for them to come out on streaming most of the time. Level 33 Pog? Poggers? Higher level than this Golbat now. So let's see if we can actually just defeat it. I don't have high hopes for it, but that's super effective. Cool. Great. Well, I'm gonna say no. Okay. I'm gonna say we'll send out Rachel. Who cares? Who cares? So close and yet so far. I think we get 2 at this stream. I think we evolve our Slowpoke and then we're good. And this stream will be pretty much solid, and we'll probably be able to start doing the Elite Four after that. So I'm very excited. By the way, I don't know if I ever explained why this Slowpoke doesn't have a name. It's because, like, when I was going catching Slowpokes for the King's Rock, I would always just keep the Slowpoke if it were, like, a higher level than the one I already had, just to sort of save time in doing the Slowbro evolution later. So that's why. And so this was one of the unnamed Slowpokes I caught that now no longer has a name. Or never had a name, I suppose. I will, I'll be right back, though. So I think maybe not tomorrow, but soon. The next stream I'm gonna do, whenever it is, I'm gonna do 10 games. That's my plan. We're gonna bring that back. I think that'll be a fun thing to do next. So look forward to that if you are at all interested in that sort of thing. We are playing just 10 random games. I have them selected, I have them set up. It's, you know, no problem to do them. I'm just going to do it, and I think it'll be fun. After that, we'll return to Pokemon again. Just every other stream, we'll just come back to Pokemon, I think. Just makes sense. That was a critical hit and everything. And look how much damage it did. Not really much at all. Oh, it's kind of cringe. Oh, it's kind of lame. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's fine. We'll switch after this. This is not gonna take out Ursa Ring, I'm sure. Okay, we switch to Keith. Oh man, we might have won. He hurt himself in his confusion. We would have won. How we doing? 33, so one more level and we'll be 34. Right? Just simple math. just a little bit of simple math there. What day is it? March 8th? I mean, the years, I feel like the years just fly by lately. I'm trying to make some big life changes, but it's difficult. It's difficult to do. I think I just need to start looking for jobs or something. Thought about it. Also, like, now I'm like, maybe I should try dating. Maybe dating would be easier in like in the city. Like, if I moved to a city, probably be easier, wouldn't it? Guess I've never really been a fan of the of the people around here usually. I've lived in I live in the Midwest. You know, not the most exciting place to live. And people are kind of odd around here. Let's send out Magikarp. Oh. Epic. And by the way, Simple Flips is back, guys. He came back. He took like a break and then he started uploading videos again. I love that guy so much. Great content. He plays a lot of Mario Maker. I mean, I guess he ended. Like, he did this series called Walkies, which was great. It's basically trying to get an S rank in like Mario Maker's multiplayer mode by just not ever running. That was a very exciting series. He still does uncleared levels, Mario Maker. That's fun. It's still fun. Just a funny guy. I enjoy watching his stuff. I missed him when he was gone. Oh, did you guys hear about there was like a YouTuber that got in a horrible car accident apparently. It's just really sad. But it's like I heard this news and I assumed, like, I saw headlines. I think like Moist Critical made a video about it. It's just like YouTuber gets in terrible crash. And I just assumed it was probably, like, I didn't watch any of the videos or like read the news or anything. I just assumed it was like some YouTuber I'd never like heard of. And then I found out who it was, and I'm like, oh no, I've watched a lot of their videos, and like recently, like I've watched their videos like pretty recently, and like I'm like, oh my god. So then I like had to read all his information. I'm like, holy shit. So it was a YouTuber called Shafrilla's Production. They make a lot of videos about like animated shows and stuff from, I don't know, just animated shows, children's movies, and animated movies mostly. DreamWorks, Pixar, stuff like that. They made a lot of videos about that sort of thing. And, yeah, at first I was like, oh my god. Like, as far as I knew, that was only one guy. But apparently, like, the channel is run by, like, or at least was run by it's run by a handful of people. And unfortunately, some of them passed away in this car accident. It's, like, horrible. Like, once I found that out, I'm like, I have to go check their channel. I think the guy whose voice is in most of the videos, he's fine. I mean, he wasn't fine. I mean, he was in, like, a critical condition, apparently, and they managed to save him. Just, like, such a horrible story. I don't want to bring the vibe down, too. Bringing the vibe down. It's not, yeah. It's, yeah, it was really sad to hear. But I just didn't realize it was, like, somebody who's, like I actually like on YouTube, you know? I assumed when I was seeing all the headlines, I'm like, oh, it's some idiot, like, you know. But I'm like, uh-oh, it's not. This is actually really sad news. Anyways. Yeah. Hope the best for for him and his channel. Gosh, like, what a story. It's such a weird thing. I don't know. I'm like trying to like decide if this is like a topic I can really go into. Like, this is gonna get really morbid. But like, you know, last year, you know, this is a morbid topic. I don't think I should like dwell on this too much. Like, getting the details, it's just not, you know, bringing up how something like this affects me is maybe a little bit unsympathetic, I don't know, inhumane, maybe is the right word, I don't know. Like, I don't know, it's a terrible feeling, I think, when you're like, especially, you know, people you watch online, who's like videos you like subscribe to, you know, like videos you watch regularly, or streamers that you like watch a lot of the time, or you watch clips from, you know. It like is, I don't know, it hits you in a weird way when like something happens to him, you know. You like have to hear this news, and you're like, it's just like over, you know. It's just like, that's it. And you realize they just don't really, I don't know, they don't get to say anything about it, you know. Anyways. This is, I don't know about this topic. But like sometimes I hear about them and they're like younger than I am, you know? And then that's when it's like really weird. That's when it's like really like sad to me, is like when it's like they were younger than I was, you know? I'm older than they are. You know, that's like, it's just like, shit. That's awful. And I think like a lot of the people that like, you know, I watch on YouTube, weirdly, a lot of them are just younger than me now. It's kind of shifted to that point where it's like, you know, I'm pushing into my 30s, so, you know, a lot of the channels that I see popping up that's like, oh, a new channel that's like, oh, I like their content, and they're like in their early 20s, you know, and they're like raving about like how, you know, nostalgic they are for like Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm like, Five Nights at Freddy's came out when I was in college. I was in college when that came out. Like, oh, brother. I'm like, I remember that, like, it just came out last year, you know? Like, it's weird that people are nostalgic for that now. And that's how I know. That's how I know when I can tell, like, they're young and they start talking, like, really reverently about the Five Nights series. I'm like, oh, you're, like, in your early 20s. Okay, oh, I see. Okay. That's how you can tell. Either that, or I guess they're like a child, teenager, but then they wouldn't be making content, probably. And I think you'd be able to tell through their voice, but... I don't know, man. Getting old. That's the thing, though. You start to, like, you know, I've been watching YouTube since, like, you know, since, like, the inception of it, I suppose. Like, once channels started to become, like, channels, it was, like, became a person running a business, which was a weird thing. It used to just be, you know, people making viral it's just, like, viral videos. They used to just be shared around. But, like, the concept of somebody having, like, a channel that they regularly share content to was a little bit... Like, there was a point at which it shifted into that being, like, sort of the norm. Because before that, it wasn't like that. And so, like, you know, I kind of realized that, like, a lot of the people that I used to watch back in, like, 10 years ago, back, like, a decade ago, have kind of fallen off. Like, all of them are just kind of, like, irrelevant now, which is weird. I'm remembering all these people that I had, like, high reverence for, and I'm like, oh, their careers are gonna just, like, you know, skyrocket. Like, oh, I love their content so much. Like, they're just gonna go up and up and up. And then a lot of them have just, like, you know, they get older and their, like, priorities change. And, like, just a lot of them just don't, like, most of them are really not relevant anymore. Like, nobody even knows who they are. And I'm like, these are some of the biggest content creators at the time. It's like, that's the thing, is it's like secular, I guess. In, like, YouTube, it's like, most of the big people are, like, in their early 20s. And then, like, once they start pushing 30, it's like they kind of fall off. But I don't know if it's normally just because, like, people aren't interested in their stuff anymore, which for some of them it seems like that is the case. You know, it seems like they kind of just... For some of them, here's what I'll say, is, like, they've been doing the same thing that they did since 10 years ago, you know? They're doing exactly the same thing. I think the biggest example for me is, there's a YouTube channel called Continue Show, which used to be part of Normal Boots, which is, like, a whole thing I could go into detail about. Normal Boots is basically this, like, conglomeration of channels started by JonTron, I think Peanut Butter Gamer, The Completionist, and Continue Show, I think, joined a little later. But, like, JonTron was always, like, raving. JonTron is, like, probably the most continuously relevant now, but, you know, Continue Show was a part of this, and he was always raving about Continue Show. And, like, I used to watch Continue Show back in the day. And then I stopped watching for a while, and then I was like, I was like, I wonder what those guys are up to. Like, are they still making content? And sure enough, they are, but they like they barely get any views. And it's because like if you watch their video, they haven't changed a single thing from what they were doing when they were like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. Back in like 2012, 2013. You know? So it's like they are even using the exact same intro, which I remember when they started using this intro, it was like a fan I remember them talking about this in a video. They were like, a fan created this new intro for us, and like we asked them if we could use it, and they said yes, and they're still using that same intro. And it's like the same backdrop behind the couch, and like they do the same thing. And I'm like, you guys haven't changed anything. And they use the same thumbnails. I'm like, I have so many questions about that channel. I'm like, are you guys like, are they just kind of content with like where they are? I suppose, because I feel like, you know, most people understand that like if you want to kind of stay relevant, you want to kind of like push the view count up, well, you have to change your content, you know, over time. And they just haven't changed a thing. I think maybe they just do it as like a hobby. They're just like, we just do it as a hobby. So why would we change anything that we're doing? But it's like bizarre. It's like stepping into a time machine. Whenever I go and watch like a new video that they're uploading, it's like I'm being transferred back a decade in the past, you know? I'm like, wow, this is weird. But I think they're like a good example where like their idea, their concept was really good back in those days, and now it's like an extraordinarily common thing that people do. So it's, you know, you kind of have to like stand out a little bit to stand out above everybody else. I don't know. I don't really know what their sort of game plan is exactly. Completionist is kind of the same way. He's kind of been doing the same thing for years. But I feel like his concept is really good, and I feel like that's why he's got the potential to continue sort of growing. But I have heard from his videos that he's struggled a bit. He seems to usually blame the YouTube algorithm, but I don't really think it's the YouTube algorithm. I think it's just like, you know, times are changing, man. You can't just do the same thing over and over again and like expect it to just keep working, you know? It's like, it's not the YouTube algorithm that's like screwing you over. I think it's just that times are changing and people are interested in different things now. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of how I feel though. It's very rare that a content creator that you see is like, I don't know, still relevant into their 30s. It's like a rare thing. Some of them quit. Oh, there's another one. Oh, this is another one I want to talk about. Dodger, Brooke from Press Heart to Continue. She was like huge. She was like a huge channel back in the day. And she's just kind of like relegated herself to just kind of obscurity, internet obscurity a little bit. I don't hear nobody like, it's bizarre. She used to be like on a podcast with Total Biscuit, and then on top of that she had another podcast which I used to watch pretty regularly, which is called Manga Pod, where they would read a manga and then discuss it. It's part of that, but like she had a kid. I think she just had a kid and then just kind of focused on streaming. But she like kind of abandoned her channels on YouTube, especially her main channel. But I think her second channel she still like uploads to, but just like stream VODs mostly. So she streams, but she's like, it's interesting because it seems like, you know, I don't know. It's not like I feel like they're just content in like the place that they're at, you know, and they're not like trying to push themselves into, like, you know, into bigger and bigger views. They're just, like, kind of just doing the same thing. She also kind of just is doing that. She's kind of doing the same thing she's always been doing. I think gets a couple thousand, like, viewers. And I'm like, huh. But I find these people so interesting. I'm like, what? Like, they're the interesting people. They're, like, the ones that would be interesting to talk to be like, so what is your, like, what are you up to? Like, what's the deal? But it's, like, strange to me to think about a lot of those people that, like, used to be, you know, huge on YouTube. And have just kind of, like, disappeared. I just kind of, like, you know, retreated into these niches. To the point where you could bring them up and nobody would know who they are, you know? Whereas before, you go on YouTube, I talk about them, and people would be like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know that channel. A lot of the, like, hidden block guys. So Normal Boots had, like, I almost want to call it, like, a sister set of channels. But they collaborated with this other group of channels called Hidden Block. Which I don't know. I think it was started by Balrog. A guy called Balrog. And it was composed of... Some of these names are still relevant. And people will recognize them. But it was composed of Balrog, Kede Chris. I think he was probably one of the bigger channels that's still around. Then there was sorry, got distracted for a second. Brutal Moose. Brutal Moose is still pretty relevant. Then there's Jimmy Nintendo Fan for the Win was his original name. Then I think he changed it to Jimmy Wetzel. And then there's Space Hamster, who's still kind of doing stuff, but he's most known, I think, for his association with Peanut Butter Gamer. I think they used to live together. They used to be roommates. And they used to have a Let's Play channel called Jeff, PB and Jeff. So he was the second half of PB and Jeff. And then there's Youngtown. Youngtown's been trying to come back. He's been trying to make a comeback recently, I've noticed. Which he basically used to do, like, video game parody music, stuff like that. And then he sort of left his channel behind to sort of pursue a music career. Which I don't know if he had much luck with. Because he came back to YouTube, like, recently. And started doing, like, streams, and that's basically it, I think. But yeah, I also saw Jimmy Wetzel also started streaming. He kind of stopped uploading videos, went streaming. Kede Chris is still uploading videos. Brutal Moose is still doing stuff. Kede Chris's content, I don't know if I would say he's changed a lot. He's just gotten weirder. Like, he's just a weirder dude, and he uploads longer videos now, like really long form content, and he just has a really bizarre sense of humor. And so he's, like, really leaning into that hard. But I wouldn't say that he's, like, changed, like, that's something different from what he used to do. He always used to have a weird sense of humor. He's just, like, embracing it wholeheartedly. So I think it's working for him. Brutal Moose is interesting because he kind of, I feel like he kind of goes, you know, he kind of wavers up and down. There was a period of time, I think, in which he was, like, really blowing up a bit because he started doing some frozen meal reviews, and then he did, like, you know, classic PC, retro PC game reviews, and he would do this sort of VHS sort of aesthetic. He would do this, like, old school retro aesthetic. He also did this series where he would buy like mystery tapes from like Goodwill and would like just look at what's on them and review it. That's gonna kill me. So his content, I think, like that sort of thing, actually works a lot better in the modern day. It actually clicks a lot more with people. So he was in a good place. But then there's Balrog, who actually started Hidden Block, as far as I know. I might be wrong about that, but I got the impression that that's how it worked. And Balrog's the one that I feel kind of the saddest about, because he tried so hard, and he like revamped the way he did it. He basically just did Nintendo reviews, and he would just record them in his like college dorm room. And he would use, like, stuffed animal. He had, like, a stuffed Wario doll that he would use as, like, a character. And then a lot of the other characters he would use are just him in, like, a mustache. You know, so they're a very, like, low production, sort of, like, classic YouTube sort of thing. Like, a lot of people would do that back in the day, back in, like, the early 2010s. Like, that was kind of the common thing to do. It was, like, just put on a comedy show with just you and a bunch of different, like, in, like, a wig and, like, a mustache. Like, play 1,000 different characters. I think ProZD still does that. Like, he still does that. But that used to be, like, such the sort of common trope on YouTube, was how people just did videos from their bedroom. It's easy to do. Just buy a wig and a mustache. That's what he used to do, and he would just review games. But the thing was, I think his views just weren't where he wanted them. He tried to, like, revamp his channel, like, 3 times in, like, a really short period of time. He's like, oh, I'm gonna switch to doing, all games, not just Nintendo games. He did that. So he went from Balrog's Nintendo room to, like, Balrog's Nintendo game room or something like that. Or, sorry, Balrog's game room. He dropped the Nintendo part of it and was like, I'm just going to review everything. And then he changed it again, which I don't remember exactly how that went, but he changed it again, and then shortly after, he just stopped uploading videos entirely. But I think he was just focused, like, he was in college at the time, so I think he just started focusing on his college. And I hope he's doing well wherever he is, you know? That's like, I still remember you, dude. You know? I think I was probably the same age as him, honestly. Maybe a little younger when I was watching him. But these are the guys I looked up to at the time, you know? I'm like, oh, they're a little older than me, you know? They're doing cool stuff on YouTube. They're like making videos and like just having fun. And now they're all kind of like, most of them have just disappeared. Where'd they go? I wonder this to myself pretty often. You know, it's like there's a lot of people out there who we know where they went. You know, they just they're still around. Most of them that we like ask questions about usually, but it's the ones we don't ask questions about that I'm more interested in. Which, for the record, what happened to Game Grumps? That's still a mystery. I feel like we could get deep into the mystery. I will be right back, and I'll talk to you about my thoughts on that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, if you heard the loud bang, it was because I knocked the remote control off my top of my TV, and it just like bashed into the thing. It just bashed off a bunch of stuff. Wasn't a big deal. It's fine. Nothing. No worries. This microphone probably picks up a lot. But yeah, the whole Game Grumps thing. So Game Grumps, the original, and I'm talking about the original Game Grumps. I know Game Grumps is still around, but OG Game Grumps, back in 2013, 2012, OG, the first year of Game Grumps, which feels, you know, it's after a few years, it was already like, oh man, I hate to know that, like, new Game Grumps has been longer than old Game Grumps. Like, it was, when that happened, it was like, oh, no, this is what Game Grumps is now defined as. Which makes sense, and I'm fine with that. But, what the heck happened with it? Nobody knows. And it got real weird. Because it was like, you know, you left all of a sudden. You didn't, like, you know, John Truddy didn't say anything. You didn't say a dang thing. Like, they didn't talk about any, like, I've rewatched the first year of Game Grumps, like, several times. So I know that they never discussed anything. Like, John never said on the show anything about, like, oh, maybe I'm gonna go do this, and that might make me, you know, have to leave. No, it just kind of happened all of a sudden. Even the last episode that he was on, you know, he doesn't say anything about it. He just says, oh, see you next time. And then it was over. And then the news, we got the news the next day. It just came up with an Ode to John YouTube video. What the heck does mirror coat do? What the heck does that mirror coat do? Okay, listen to this. I got hair in my mouth. If the last amount of damage done to the user before the use of Mirror Coat is greater than 0 and was dealt by a special move, Mirror Coat will do twice as much damage as taken by that attack to the opponent. If the opponent uses a physical move or does not attack at all, Mirror Cost fails. Dark-type Pokemon are immune to Mirror Coat, but otherwise Mirror Coat's type has no effect on the damage done to the target. If the last amount of damage done to the user before the use is greater than 0 and was dealt by a special move. Okay. So the question is, do I get rid of Recover over Mirror Coat? And I'm kind of feeling like that might be cool. So I'm gonna do it. Screw Recover. Yeah, so we got a video. And the weird thing about the video was that it was just John and not with Aaron, and he was in a bunch of different places, and the video quality was kind of low, and like it was weird that they didn't make the video together to like announce, hey, we're leaving. It was just like he had already left, and they were like, you know, oh, we gotta make a video to like tell people, but like it was just weird. That was a weird thing, you know. And then, on top of that, I've thought about, like, making just compiling all of the information that I know, because I was there, man. I was there. I was in the trenches. And I feel like there's stuff people that leave out. Like, for example, there's the Reddit. There's the whole Reddit, the whole subreddit, where basically Aaron had gone on, and he'd made a post saying, like, nobody, like, out of respect for John's wishes, he doesn't want to be discussed at all. So nobody mentioned John after this point. And so we're not going to mention him. And so, then the mods enforce this rule. They're like, okay, that's what they want, so we're going to enforce this rule. You're not allowed to discuss JonTron. And so they completely remove him from everything in the subreddit. You're not allowed to talk about him at all. Later on, John comes on with his own account, verified. Everyone knows it was him. Saying, I never said that. I don't know why he's saying that. I would like to be, I would hate for people to stop, discussing something I was a part of for like a year of my life. Indicating that Aaron just kind of lied about it. And like, okay, why did Aaron say that though? I was like, maybe Aaron's just weird. I don't know, it's probably just weird. But it's like, what's going on? And they're like at odds with each other, and there's like this weird disconnect where are they not communicating? It's like, that's the thing. It's like, they're not communicating. They're not talking to each other, I guess. Like, there's a reason that one person said one thing and they never like discussed it, and now they're discussing it publicly, but not like to each other. They're instead airing out their laundry kind of in public. Anyways, so there's that. There's also the rumors that, people started to get suspicious, and they started to say, well, what happened between them? Like, are they not friends anymore? Are they not talking to each other? Are they not hanging out? And what it came down to was the rumor was basically that something happened at it came down to a specific date, and there was a convention that they had gone to, and it seems like something happened at this convention. JonTron was known to be at a party, and apparently something happened. Nobody knows what, but something happened, and after that point, they just went separate ways. But again, nobody's ever said what happened. And it's like, you can look at that and be like, okay, well, that's just hearsay. Maybe nothing happened. Maybe you just decided to move away one day, and that's what happened. But the evidence contradicts that. For example, John then went on podcasts, specifically the Total Biscuit podcast, which was called I believe the Co-Optional podcast, I think. And if you look that up, I don't know if it's still up. I honestly have no idea. But JonTron went on. Well, I don't know if it was the one JonTron was on, but he was weird about it. Every time he was asked about Game Grumps, he was like, I can't talk about that. I'm not allowed. There's like a non-disclosure. I'm not allowed to share anything. Every time he was asked about it. And not only on podcasts, but also on, when he went to some convention. He was at some convention where somebody asked him about it, and he's like, I'm not allowed to really say anything about it. Indicating that there's something he's not allowed to talk about, There's something he wasn't allowed to share there. But what is it? Nobody knows. And also, Total Biscuit, before he passed away, R.I.P., rest in peace, Total Biscuit, shared on, I think, a different podcast. I don't think it was the one JonTron was on, but I think it was a different podcast. But he was talking about basically the whole Game Grumps thing. It came up as like a topic, and Total Biscuit says, well, I know what happened, but trust me, that shit is buried, and it's never coming up. So Total Biscuit indicates that something happened, and that he knew what it was, and that nobody was ever going to talk about it. That it was just never going to come out. Indicating that there was something that happened. It's like, it gets weird. I mean, when you start like paying attention to all the things that like happened around the time, and like I was, because I was like obsessed with like, what happened. I'm like, why aren't they friends anymore? I was like reading all of this shit, man. I was like watching everything that anybody was talking about. I hope that shit's still out there somewhere. Somebody can look that up. But, like... everything that happened, it was kind of indicating that something happened. But nobody's allowed to talk about it, and especially not John. John's not allowed to talk about it. I was just hoping, you know, years after the fact that, hey, we're here now. You can. I feel like, who cares anymore? Like, you could probably talk about it, and no one would give a shit. So, I mean, I would give a shit, but most people wouldn't. I don't think it would cause any sort of rise, but yeah, it's just anybody that's ever talked about it that's been like an insider. I think like somebody on Oni Plays, I think Oni NG has talked about it, and Chris O'Neill has talked about it in some extent, saying like, yeah, I know what happened, but like you can't talk about it. Although I'm not sure, that information might be a bit. I'm not sure where I was hearing that, or if Chris was even the one to say it. I think it was maybe somebody else that was like talking about insider knowledge that they had, and I don't remember. That's a little iffier because that was more recent that I remember. But yeah. So if you look at all the evidence and how they, you know, they didn't really communicate well on the subreddit especially. They kind of just posted separate of each other and didn't really seem to discuss in private. There was way more posts than that. And then there's like Game Grumps itself after John left. Is like Aaron was really weird about it in that he would not talk about or acknowledge JonTron for like at least a year or two, I think, after he left. He wouldn't even say anything about him whatsoever. Didn't want to like acknowledge it at all, which is just kind of weird. Maybe Aaron is just weird. I think he is just kind of weird, but you know, just kind of enacting some sort of thing that like was never a thing that anybody desired in the first place. It was just bizarre. It was handled really poorly, was the thing. Just kind of tore the fan base in half, really. Like, of course people want to talk about it. And then, you know, you come in with the ban hammer and be like, no, you can't. Not allowed. Oh, if you don't like new thing, we don't like you anymore. Sleep. Okay. Yeah. It's sus. It's the biggest mystery. I mean, to me, it's like one of the big mysteries that I would love to just get an answer to. I'd love to figure that out after this many years. I'm like sitting here like something happened. It's obvious. There's evidence. And it's just like, you'd have to just know somebody to like know what happened. You'd have to know somebody in this. There were rumors about what happened. A lot of it had to do with like insulting. Most of it, I think, just came down to like, oh, John insulted Aaron's girlfriend or wife at the time. I think she was just his girlfriend. They weren't married at the time, but John said something mean to his girlfriend. Like, that's most of what the rumors came down to, and it's like, okay, well, that's... okay, whatever. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but it would seem like something you'd get over time. But I could see why Aaron wouldn't want to associate with John currently. I mean, they obviously did the Starcade, you know, John did the Starcade thing where he revealed that Aaron was Darth Vader, and they're together again. To sort of quell the rumors, but like, you know, I'm still out here, you know, I know something happened. I know it. But now they obviously hate each other, mostly because of John's political stuff that he said since then. I think Aaron is like safe and well, comfortable in saying that he no longer has to associate with him as a friend. So it's like no longer a question of why they're not still friends, but what happened at the time. Still curious about that one. Hello, Toast Lord. Slowpoke's evolving. You came just in time. I was talking about a conspiracy theories about Game Grumps. Slowbro is trying to learn Withdraw. No, I don't want Withdraw. What one? Game Grumps. Game Grumps Conspiracy. It's a little obscure. Are you familiar with Game Grumps? We got Slowbro. Hold on. Give me a moment. I've heard of them. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I explained it pretty in depth. I can't really go over it again. I feel like it would be a little bit redundant for me to like go over it again in detail. It's a big thing. But it used to be two guys. I don't know if you've heard of JonTron. But it used to be JonTron and Egoraptor, Aaron Hansen, and then John was suddenly replaced on the show, very suddenly, and so there's a big conspiracy about what happened, and nobody really knows, but there have been a lot of weird things that happen in between. A lot of things that have been said that it's like implies that something happened, but nobody knows for sure. So I was just sharing all those details that I knew from just having been there at the time. So we got a Slowbro. So we're gonna deposit the Slowbro, and I guess okay. So here's where we're at. We're at the point where I wanna just upgrade whoever I think should be on my team going into the Elite Four. So I think Slowking should be on my team, I will say. The only other one is probably Gyarados. Lola, sorry. Where's the one that's Miles? Miles is level 30. So, I'm determining if I should replace Corsola with Gyarados. I feel like I'm gonna put Slowking on my team. That's just like a definitive. Only level 27, but that's okay. So it's just gonna be. I think I'm gonna. No, I should probably replace Corsola. Jose called me. Okay. Deposit. I'm gonna deposit Nora, but I want to remove her item. I think we're kind of here, you know? We're kind of there. So, what do you have? Ice Berry? Okay. Nora would be good, but I think if we're really gonna give this a shot, I feel like it makes more sense to use Gyarados. So let's reorganize my Pokemon here, and we're gonna have to continue grinding a little bit. Okay, and then Miles, I don't know, what are your moves, brother? Thrash by Dragon Rage. Ooh, these are terrible moves. Thrash. Okay, I don't really know what to do. Pink Bow. I mean, Pink Bow might help for Thrash. I'm just gonna give you a berry. Give you a burnt berry. Alright, we're going to continue grinding a little bit here until I get to, I mean, maybe not 40, but like maybe level 35-ish. And then I think we'll be good to just go on to the Elite Four. But we have fully evolved everything. So I no longer need to work on evolution. Let me just switch over on my I mean, Quagsire is another one that might be useful, but... I totally forgot. Who did I just add to my team? Corsola? Who did I replace with Corsola? Slowking? Wait, yeah, no, it was Slowking. Okay, I'm proud of this team. I think this team is going to go places, but we're going to find out. We'll see if I need to replace. The only ones I can think of that might be useful here are possibly Tentacruel or Quillfish, which are both have a poison typing. Corsola might be good for the rock typing. And then there's... I don't know, Quagsire, I guess, possibly, but Quagsire we'd have to grind up quite a bit, I think. But otherwise, we'll try to grind up Speedy here, so that we've got a combative party. Oh, Speedy, you're not good, are you? Oh, Speedy, you're not very good at the game, are you? Okay. Send out Rachel. Rachel's pretty pog. But we could replace Rachel with Dugong. I don't think I'm gonna do that, but we could. So that's where we're at. Now we're just grinding it out. Whew. Hog, level 28. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab something real quick. Okay. How you doing, Toast Lord? How you doing? How's things going? Having a good Wednesday. I promise I'm not going to be spending too many streams just grinding. But we are at the point where we have evolved all our Pokemon, so we can just focus on just grinding up straight to level 35-ish, and then we won't, we'll be done. Then we'll just do the Elite Four at that point. This guy, using his frickin'... Did I not even... I didn't even get an attack off. Okay. Why is there so many random Pokemon in the cave? I don't know. It's just, I don't know. This is how it works. But it's good for us. It's good that there's a lot of them. Because we can battle them, and they go up to level 35, so we can grind up. It's good. They're mostly rock Pokemon, and a Golbat, and an Ursaring. Probably should just use Bubble Beam. Did you watch Mandalorian yet? It's 2 episodes now. New episode today. No, I need to. Yeah. Yeah, you have to. You've got to. I mean, there's only 2 episodes out. I honestly kind of am wondering between, like, sometimes I feel like binging is better. I've been busy. That's fair. Yeah. I'm wondering, like, because some of my friends do that, where they'll just, like, wait for the whole thing to come out and then watch it all in bulk. And I'm like, that might be a better idea. Sometimes it's harder when you just, like, watch episode by episode, and then you, like, get to the new next week, and you're like, wait, I don't even remember what happened last episode. But I feel like if you watch it all at once, sometimes that might be better. Just because it comes across as, like, a big consolidated thing. You don't have to, like, worry about, like, remembering what happens week between week. I don't know. I feel like Netflix is they're the only streaming service that still does it that way. Or no, sorry. Disney Plus is the one that does it that way, sorry. Netflix uploads every episode of a season all at once. So does Hulu, and so does... No, I guess Amazon doesn't do that, do they? Prime Video. They upload weekly. Ooh, I shouldn't have done this. Okay, it worked out. Okay. Suicune's getting like no experience from this, which is fine, but like we just kind of want to upgrade Slowking at this point. So it's not a big deal. Slowking's getting a lot more experience. We're weary of the self-destruct here. There it is. Predictable. We'll try to get Speedy up to level 30, I think. Sorry, I'm not staying long, but I'm gonna go because I'm tired. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I was just thinking, it's like, it's usually around the time I would probably end the stream as well. But I'm thinking I might try to get him up to level 30 and then probably end. No worries, dude. Thanks for coming. Always appreciated. And then I think next stream we should be done with grinding. We'd be done with it entirely and just be able to go into the Elite Four. Cool. Learning Disable. I mean, Curse kind of sucks. I'll keep Curse, though. Come on, dude. Oh my god. Not cool. Fight the paralysis, dude. Please. Thank you. Almost there. Fine. One second. Just a little bit more, and then we will be done for today. I have to decide if I want to try to grind out the game corner in between streams or what I want to do with that. I think it might behoove us to do that, but I'm not 100% about it. We'll see. We'll see if we can just get through the Elite Four, then maybe not, but at the same time, you know, it might just be useful to do so anyways. I don't know if we've ever used Miles in combat. It looks like we haven't. Try Thrash. Thrash is good. Plan for the self-destruct. Okay, this should be it, I think. Yep. Level 30. Almost level 45 for Keith. Okay. I suppose we just call it there then. I'm gonna save in the Pokemon Center just to avoid this problem later on where I have to be in a Pokemon Center for mystery gift and all that. I'm still trying to get that. I say this a lot. I'm still trying to get every mystery gift every day. Still have yet to get I get berries most of the time, X accuracies, Dyer's hits. Most of what I get, I don't get anything useful, so it's kind of dumb and getting on my nerves a little bit, but still, just in case, we're doing it every day. But that's gonna be the stream. Thanks for watching. We won't do much grinding next time. Next time, we'll probably get there pretty fast because we're no longer trying to evolve anything anymore. So if we just get to level 35, I think we'll be pretty well off, and then we'll just start grinding against Elite 4. But maybe in the meantime, maybe I will do Game Corner. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. All right, goodbye.